want to serve, we need to be upfront about them, let them know what they're signing onto.
Right.
So a good amount of time, you'd think.
I'm thinking weekly, at least 1 day a week. It would have to be because of the bylaws and policies that they have to create in the short term, at least weekly meetings, maybe 1 day a week. And I could check that out to be specific because, like I said, Lafayette, Lake Charles, and Alexandria have already formed a board, and I can check with them to find out how much time it's taken to get where they are.
Real quickly find out how long it took them to get going, what it initially took to get them up and running, just within the next 24 hours, so that we can. I just know personally myself, I've got a couple of people in mind who I think would be very good, but I certainly don't want to get them out there and get them into something that they regret and they're not dedicated to. I think everybody ought to know this is important because you don't want a lot of board change, not initially. Right. Turnover.
I can do that.
All right.
And indicate that with Mr. Wilson.
And since we get all that, I'll ask who else will speak. Second.
This does not require an ethics reporting, does it?
Yes,
being on this board.
It does. Tier 2 financial disclosure.
Okay.
Okay, if you would get that to us real quick, we'll get this ball rolling as fast as we can. I would like all of you to start considering candidates that you may have in mind to recommend, and we'll get it going.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
I've got a copy of the letter.
Thank you.
You go with it.
Thanks for coming. Appreciate it.
All right, Mr. Wilson, please continue.
Yes, sir. I'd like to have Mr. Ken Ward come forward and give us a little brief trip report from the Green Conference. I think that's what Commissioner Lynch is going to weigh in also, so it's a brief report on the progress.
Wow. You have on a green shirt.
I do, just by coincidence, I guess. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I wanted to cover you quickly about creating green economics and green environments. And I'll be honest, when I first went there, I was a little skeptical of green economics, green businesses. What is that? Green jobs. You hear it all over the place. And not knowing exactly what it was, that was my first keyword I wanted to hear. What is a green job? What is green economics? And things that they talked about, well, it's residential construction, it's commercial construction, it's manufacturing. That's the same jobs that we have here now. How does that convert to be green? It's all about how that job is doing, what that job is doing is green. And through the days that we were there, day and a half that we were there, businesses that we have locally were coming to mind, Terranium, what they're doing with the gray water, the city of Shreveport, things like that were really coming to mind. So while we actually have a lot of that here in our own parish, how can we benefit on that? So I was able to kind of keep that in mind as we would move forward. And the couple of topics that I always think about was, what can we do here in the parish that didn't require millions of dollars or lots of funds to do it, or lots of staff time putting into that? We're at a certain level that we need, but what can we do without creating more work for us or creating more funding? So these are some things that I came up with. I'm sure Commissioner Lynch tagged on the same few. Some of it about smart zoning. There's a lot of counties, especially in Maryland, are focusing on smart zoning. There were some counties there from Illinois who had 2% unemployment rate. Reason why? Why 2%? Why so low? Was because over 30% of their parish or county was focused on agricultural areas, green jobs, green areas. Those were all considered as green jobs. So when we're looking at our smart zoning going forward, we maybe ought to consider zoning of some areas dedicated just for agriculture, just for green spaces, just for that. And I'm sure that they're doing that. I'm not involved in that, but I'm sure they're doing that already. Second thing that came to mind was something as simple as creating an ordinance. A lot of the communities that we were there, especially the county in Kansas, for Kansas City, they created an ordinance that all new public buildings would be green buildings, would be LEED certified. That didn't mean that the developer down the street had to do that, but any political body, such as the parish or the county, when they built a new building, would be a green certified LEED building. And they actually took a poll. The first poll was before their first building they constructed using green materials. Was 24% of the people felt that green initiatives were important. So they went ahead and built this new structure, cost 4% extra than what it should have normally cost because they did use green technology. They were getting 30% more on their reduction of utilities because of that. So it would easily pay for itself, but they ran another poll after that and said, okay, now we have a new green building, we're providing visitations for school kids, other businessmen are coming in and seeing what they're doing. The polls went up to 74% thought that green economic buildings were essential for the county. Wow, it went from 24 to 74% just like that. And so those are and only on 4% increase of construction costs. So they felt, wow, this is something that was needed. So they're actually looking at taking a step further, having some of the green initiatives we put into private buildings. They're still reviewing what ordinances, what laws can they pass for private buildings in their parishes or counties to be used. One of the other things that there's a county, I think it's Dade County in Florida. They use a green certified business program. It's a parish or a county certified program where what it does is they actually use a third party vendor. So you have a business, you do green initiatives, you make the green steps you need to do. The parish has a third party vendor that goes out and supports that. What they do is they pay for it, the third party goes and inspects it, does the certification, approves it through it. They actually pay for it, and on top of that paying for the certification, they pay for a little premium cost for that third party to do their inspection. So the county's out zero, but what they're doing is they're gaining certification for businesses who are out there who are doing green initiatives. That certification is allowing them to acquire lower interest on construction loans. They're requiring, it's able to acquire them grants through federal mandated grants, saying that now the county is certified them as a green business. Something that they've been doing all around. They just pay a little more to acquire that. So that's something that we can look at through a third-party benefit to do that. And from my understanding, there's a few of them locally that will do that for us as well. Creation of a green task force. It seems like the whole time while I was there in Commissioner, they felt the same. I heard that a lot, green task force. What is a green task force? And a lot of the counties read, and I actually had a guy at my table present me a 6-page document of what their green task force in Wisconsin is doing. And they're looking at, what they have done is they have one person from the administration or from the county themselves on this task force. They meet during regular meeting hours or working hours. But they selected businesses throughout the county with different initiatives. And they put those people on those boards and say, okay, now let's come together, not as a county or a city or a business, let's come together as a community and determine what can we do for this. And so now you're getting people from engineering to manufacturing to public works on this task force, and they're meeting regularly. And what they're doing is they're able to go out and find funding either from the businesses themselves to do certain initiatives. They're putting TV ads, hey, it's trying to make Caddo Parish greener. They're publications. They're doing certain things to help spread the word about green initiatives in their communities without spending any taxpayers' dollars. It's all based on advertising or sponsorship and that type of stuff. And they're using the green task force as its mechanism to get the word out. Another program, a lot of Louisiana just achieved this program in 2009. The state passed a law allowing communities such as counties and parishes or cities to allow what they call a PACE program. I wasn't very familiar with it. It was new to me. And what it is allowing that community to put up funding through a bond to allow that to be allowed for low interest loans for medium to high income levels. So what it would do is, like, say if I had a house and I wanted to upgrade the air conditioner systems to a more green efficient, the parish would have a program involved where I would make a loan through the parish through their PACE program, and instead of me paying back monthly to the parish, I'd pay back taxes. It'd be tacked on to my taxes at the end of the year, so my taxes would just go up to the end of the year, up to about 5 or even 20 years, depending on what each individual, what each county or parish wanted, so that they could finally get their money back slowly. But it's a process not for people who already receive grants and all that other applications they get down there. It's for the medium to low who can't afford the $6,000 new air conditioning systems or $2,000 or $3,000 hot water heater upgrades. It's for that type of classification of folks. And there's third-party individuals out there who would gladly come in and manage that with a processing fee up in the front every time there's an application for them. Now, the last thing I'd like to talk about, big topic-wise, was a company called EcoMedia. They are a company owned by CBS Television. We see a Channel 12 here locally. And what they do is they're somewhat of a nonprofit, but they sell advertising. And what they would like to do, and I asked her before I left about Shreveport-Bossier, she wasn't familiar about Shreveport-Bossier. I told them where we're at, and they're not quite in our market yet, but they are interested. They said that they would put it down and look at it, see if we're interested to come in. And what they want to do is they want to do a green project. They may focus on a school, they may focus on some other project that's really worthwhile, and sell advertising, a marked up advertising rates for that. They'd sell it on TV, CBS TV, CBS radio, CBS papers they have. They sell the advertising with a 5% markup on it, and then use that 5% to put back in the project here in town. So that, say we had a school where they wanted to modify a school and making it green, whether it's an air conditioning system or hot water system or something, roofing system, they would go out and sell advertising to the community on CBS brands, and then take the markup that they achieved after and put it back into that school as a project and sell that project. So, if my company wanted to buy into that, my company would be on the logo. It would be an energy project at some school, paid for by, Kenwood Enterprises or whatever it would be. So it's and they do that all over the country. They're looking for smaller markets to dive into. They're not quite to our age, or they're looking for like the Houston or Dallas area right now. They've been to Houston, they've been to Chicago, they're out of Chicago, they've been to some of the bigger ones, and looking for some to try to smaller so that they can get a bigger reach on what they want to do. Some of these topics that I've talked about had third-party interest on it. In a lot of the counties that I have talked with while I was there, the group was about 30% legislative officials, elected officials. The other 30% were probably folks like me in non-green initiatives. And the other 30% I found were new sustainability managers. I was really surprised to hear that my table alone had 3 brand new, within 4 or 5 months, sustainability managers. And of course, I had to ask, what is that? And they told me, very similar to what Shreveport is advertising for. They're working mainly on green initiatives in their counties and or cities, such as like Kansas City, Kansas. They had one, and they push very hard on a day-to-day basis, whether it's through the media or through businesses or interaction with schools, and they sell it, day after day after day. And I looked at it as an opportunity for that there are third parties out there that we could use. I don't think we're quite at that level yet of green initiatives here in the parish, but who knows what 10 years might have involved. So there are 3, a lot of them recommended using your MPOs. I think Dade County in Florida, they use their MPO to do some of that mechanism for third-party registration, third-party economic businesses. So and we definitely have those out there. But they definitely push for education. We're fortunate to have Bates Parish Community College here in our own parish. We have Southern, LSUS, and Centenary, and some of those others that could probably do some education on green initiatives. Green jobs. What are green jobs? What can we do to sponsor green jobs? And so I don't know if in the future if that's going to become. There's some Votex. We have the Votec here that would sell a great deal of green job technology to students for them to push into the create jobs. So there's some definite needs out there. And my last thing I wanted to just mention was that solar panels. A lot of folks talked about solar panels. I rode up and down the road there in Chicago while I was there. The 4 days that I was there, I spent the weekend with my family there, and I noticed a lot of parks. A lot of parks for that county. We had Mr. Lucky, I'm probably going to get it wrong. Cook County? Yeah, Cook County. For some reason I kept calling it King County. Cook County had a lot of parks where they realized that Cook County was run out of space. And what they realized is that 30% of space they were not going to be able to put green space back. You drive around and boom, there's a park. Why is there a park a block long? Well, there's still a building there, and now they know that they need that green space for economic benefit as well as green initiatives. So while I was there, I noticed that every park had a little solar panel over to the corner, providing lighting and providing safety issues. And they talked very highly about how those solar panels did that, and it was something that stuck in my mind that we could use for a lot of our places. I know a lot of locations are expensive to get power there, and these are options that we could use to offset the cost of getting power there is by using some solar panels. So those are just some ideas. what I took from the conference, I do think that we should, regardless of what we do, we should look at who's doing green initiatives now and what they're doing and try to celebrate those, whether it's just through as simple as a newspaper article or a press release. You know, every once in a while we should step back and say, okay, who's doing green initiatives and what can we do to help them celebrate it without going through too much. And there's a lot of companies out there that are doing that, and so you kind of take a step back and think about it. You don't see that. So again, I appreciate letting me go and learn. I think it was a neat experience, and I'd gladly answer any questions that anybody may have.
Ms. Baker?
On the grants, were there quite a bit of grants offered?
Not necessarily for us, no ma'am. We were there for trying to, that forum was there to try to drive economic. They wanted, sometimes in some cases, wanted the parishes to put out grants. To create jobs, but there wasn't grants there for us.
Okay, that was my main question. So nothing from the federal government?
There has been. We're receiving $360,000 currently for green initiatives. We're looking at air conditioning. We're doing air conditioning on the 8th floor, as well as possibly some hot water stuff over at the courthouse. So there has been some green initiatives come through. That's through energy. And, you know, we're always looking at every opportunity that we can get.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Baker.
Anyone else, Mr. Lynch?
They're going to send you out of town in one hand. No, I'm just joking. Of course, Caddo Parish has been, and I hope in the future will continue to position itself as not only a business-friendly place to do business, but also an environmentally friendly place to do business. I think the team approach of sending a professional staff member and an elected official has worked for Caddo Parish in numerous instances in the past, and I think certainly this initiative will bring the same positive benefit to the parish. So I thank everyone for doing that. And when I asked Mr. Wilson to send one of the staff, you know, he asked that be you, and certainly you presented a good presentation today and an excellent written report. There is a scholarship that NACO is providing to attend a green infrastructure training in September in Shepherdstown, West Virginia, population 803 people. But that's not including the college folks that are there. But they are willing to pay the $950 course fee. I won't be able to go because it conflicts with something else I've got to be at, but I would like for Mr. Wilson to consider applying for this scholarship for you to attend. And so I want to pass that information.
What would the dates be again, ma'am?
It's September the 13th through the 17th, 2010.
Yes, ma'am.
And they'll cover that. The green economy is the next wave of economic development, you know, for counties, and so I appreciate you listening. I'll give a little report that will cover a little bit of what you're talking about, but some other things for policymakers. So thank you so much.
Any other questions?
I just had one statement that I'd like you all to be aware of. I did challenge the facilities and maintenance department to come up with a prototype facility, the parish-owned facility, that we can put in geothermal, solar, and perhaps look at ways to use more artificial light in the facilities. And we've been talking to one of the local engineers here already about that, and we are going to go forward and perhaps select one of our camps as a test base for geothermal and solar to see if future projects that we undertake, that could be a part of future projects that we undertake in the parish. So we are looking at that and trying to evaluate the technology so we can move forward with it. And also, most of our technicians in the near future, we plan to have an educational opportunity to at least certify majority of all of our technicians in the facilities and maintenance department, or several of them. So we've already got a line on the train scenario that will take place here locally, because there's not too many schools that offer the lead certification here locally, and it's very expensive. So we think we can use part of our grant money to pay for a class to get our technicians certified. So we'll be working on that in the very near future. Thank you, Mr. Ward, I appreciate it. Just one last brief update on the grant we received today. Mr. Todd, you can come tell us about the grant?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Last month, we applied for a grant through the Department of Natural Resources for $238,860 for CNG conversion kits to try to start a CNG program for Caddo Parish. What that will allow us to do is to do 15 vehicles, take either 2009, 2010, or 2011 vehicles and convert them to CNG vehicles. Now, this is going to be a slow process. We want to make sure we go through the program real carefully. Right now, there are not CNG stations in Caddo Parish available, but there will be a station in Bossier, and there potentially will be one available later on in the year or first of next year. So we were real happy to apply and actually get the money we requested. And talking about green, we actually have been doing some green programs out at Fleet. A few years ago, we changed to using our used motor oil to heat our facility. And we've been able to save our money on heating costs. We also had another grant. We have just in the process of beginning the retrofits for our retrofit kits that go on with heavy dump trucks for emission control. That starts this month. So actually, we do have some environmental stuff we have been doing, and I think there are other departments that are also doing some things. But we're happy to find out about this today, and we'll let you know as we progress through this. Thank you.
Any questions for Todd?
Are those stimulus dollars?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, this comes through the ERA program.
Hey, let me ask you, what type of vehicles were you converting into? Pickup trucks?
Well, what we want to do, we want to target vehicles that are in the downtown area, so that will make us look at facilities and maintenance, juvenile services, and some animal services that stay within the Shreveport area.
So in proximity, isn't Red Ball looking at, is that what you're banking on the future with access to their station?
That's one of the things. Red Ball has talked and has planned to put in a station there on North Market. They did not apply for a grant. They decided they were going to go it on their own. But this will be F-150s, F-250s, E-250 vans, Ford Fusions, and Focus vehicles. Those are the target
That makes sense, but vehicles in proximity to where the supply is, because it doesn't do any good to have somebody up there in Vivian that's got to drive all the way back straight.
That's correct, yes, sir.
Fuel up. Very good. Thank you. I got enough gas anyway up there.
Just in case anybody was wondering, one of those gas stations costs $750,000 for a slow fill, and a quick fill is about $1 million to construct one of those stations. So hopefully we can get one in the future in our community. But that concludes my report today, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Communications reports. Mr. Spears?
Yes, sir. I believe most of you are aware of the message from Dita Samuels that her sister has passed away, and she won't be here this week. And I believe Mr. Wilson said he is organizing a flower fund, so any commissioner who wishes to contribute to that, or any staff member, could contact you.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Other communications, Hansel Dickey's term on the Waterworks District 1 Board is expiring in August 3rd. And then in August, all members of the Black Ball Watershed Commission are expiring.
All right, very good. Ms. Lynch?
I had a question under the admin report. The jail, I guess freeing up of the money from the jail site fund was approved in the last legislative session?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
Okay, so we have the money.
I think the effective date is, when, Jones?
Effective date's sometime in August, Commissioner.
Oh, okay. And so where would that money go? Into the general fund for now?
The legislation provides it goes into the general fund.
Gotcha. I was looking at a letter from February, and in the essence of time, I really won't go into details on it with some of the notes that I made, Mr. Wilson, that you had sent us in February about our state and federal lobbyists.
Yes, ma'am.
where are we on the federal lobbies? I think that was going to go through April, is that,
No, ma'am, that action's already been,
so it's over?
yes, ma'am,
Okay,
a couple
okay.
months ago.
I would like us to consider looking at both the lobbyist issue during our budget process,
Okay.
Mr. President, and I guess we can discuss it more in detail at that time. Thank you.
Is that your communique too?
No, that was administration.
Okay, will you move on to communiques, please?
All righty. As you all know, with the discovery of the Haynesville Shale and the abundance of natural resources and agricultural resources that Caddo Parish has, we are definitely poised to be a player in the green economy. The forum that we attended in Chicago was to facilitate the implementation of green practices and the use of green products, and to develop policies that result in both financial and environmental savings for the parish. NACO recently formed a Green Government Task Force, and as part of their Green Government Initiative. The task force does provide technical assistance and resources to parishes to go green. This Roof to Roads initiative requires us to be proactive, open to new ideas, and to consider the environmental impact of the decisions that we make. This is definitely an area of growth that Caddo Parish can be a leader in. At the forum, I was more focused on the, aspects that we as policymakers need to look at. One being takeaways from it for policymakers was, one, to develop an internal green task force. Some have done it across departments or department by department, and that is to develop environmentally friendly written policies as an organization first before branching out to businesses and to residents. Basically to make sure that we're doing all that we can do internally to address green issues. For example, in Cook County, Chicago, they have a green purchasing policy that requires that all letterhead, copy paper, computer printer paper, notepads have at least 30% post-consumer recycled content. They also have an idling policy, a green building ordinance, a green lights program, bottomless water purification system, white and green roofs, a green construction ordinance, and a bird-safe building ordinance. They're also piloting a green road construction program using rubber from ground-up tires and asphalt pavement to improve performance and help the surface last longer. And they're looking at eliminating e-waste or electronic waste by reducing paper use for internal businesses, such as, all the paper that we get in these books. All of that is being transmitted electronically as opposed to doing a lot of printing. Secondly was to create a green economy task force, which consists of private, nonprofit, academic, and public sectors. This task force would be charged with assessing existing parish resources for developing a green economy. The task force, similar to a charter review, would make recommendations to our governing body for consideration for adoption and implementation. One example, and I have their entire plan that I could get copied for anybody that's interested, was Montgomery County, Maryland. They had a 29-member task force that included no politicians. It was all people from the business community. Well, let me say the politicians were ex officio members, but the task force itself did not include any politicians, just business leaders, because it included business leaders because the purpose is to create jobs and private investment. And the task force took about a year from its inception to when they issued a report to the governing body. And their recommendations included pilot and demonstration projects, green zoning ordinances, a farm incubator, of course, smart grid technology, a county green certification program that Ken talked about, the PACE program, financial incentives to promote private investment, workforce training for green-collar jobs, not only at the university level, but also at the high school level. Thirdly was to look at, as Ken said, some counties have moved forward with having sustainability managers. Some, of course, counties are more, I guess, advanced in this area, like Portland, Multnomah County has been, I guess, at the forefront of green, the whole green, I'm trying to say, not say tree hugging. They are very environmentally conscious city and county. And I don't think that we're at that point, but we certainly can consider hiring a certified sustainability consultant to work with the parish and the Green Economy Task Force to help identify and assess what resources that we have here and in planning green initiatives and for green job development. And lastly is to identify properties for brownfields and abandoned site redevelopment. Brownfields are abandoned or underutilized industrial and commercial facilities where expansion or redevelopment is complicated by real or perceived environmental contamination. Redevelopment, as opposed to building a new building, uses existing infrastructure, water, sewer, roads, and helps improve the public health, property values in the area, and reduces water and air pollution. This can include, we talked about a building earlier, but it can also include parks, old factories, abandoned gas stations, and it also include home rehabilitation and reconstruction, as well as cleanup and site restoration. Other considerations for policymakers was creating a home energy loan program that Ken's already talked about, achieving LEED certification, minimum of a silver for all local buildings, and looking at solar energy, how much wind power do we generate in this area, probably out in the rural areas, looking at tax credit incentives, and how do we train our workforce in weatherization type jobs. So it's a huge, this whole green economy it's a huge undertaking that this green task force would be brought to the table to assess all of those and see which ones would work better for Caddo Parish. Now, this is not necessarily my area of expertise. I don't know if my blue trash can has ever been used, but there are certain aspects of this that I'm definitely passionate about the brownfields development, as well as local food production, which I think is getting some play here with the farmers market. I will, of course, continue to work with Ken and Woody on this, if it's the pleasure of the commission, but I would certainly love another commissioner to spearhead getting this initiative off the ground, especially the formation of a green economy task force, internal as well as external. So I want to thank Matthew for volunteering for this. Since he's friends with the guy that does the green forum at the convention center every year. What's his name? Marion Marks. Yeah, Marion Marks. And so that concludes my reports. I have here for everybody a guide that's County Economic Development and Green Job, the role of elected officials. If you'll pass that down and for administration as well. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Commissioner Lynch. Commissioner Thibodeau.
Yeah, first at 2:30, the NGO committee will have a committee meeting. Focus to be the request, to consider a request from the Red level, and if we have gotten back the Attorney General's opinion on the veterans' request for the elevator, we can talk about that also. I don't know if we've received that back yet or not. Do you know, Carl? Have not? Okay. Well, at this time, we'll talk about the request from Red River Rebel at the committee meeting, 2:30 Thursday. And you'll be getting notified about it also.
Thank you, Commissioner Tidwell. Commissioner Dominic?
Just wanted to thank Larry Raymond and his Caddo Parish Park and Recreation Department for our hunting and fishing. It was our 19th year. This has been going on for quite some time. It's a big event in North Caddo Parish. Him and Andre, all the volunteers, Shreveport Green was there, Oil City Rotary Club cooked a wonderful lunch, and especially all of those who came out and participated. And Larry, just appreciate you helping out, and Benji, park manager, doing such a good job.
Mr. Jefferson?
We had a facilities and space utilization committee meeting some time back, and I had not reported on it. I think the only action item that came out of the committee was that I think Mr. Lynn had made a motion to request that the city would reimburse the parish for any parking expenses that was incurred.
For their percent of our parking expense due to us having to incur parking elsewhere because we will no longer be able to utilize our spot to the west of Government Plaza.
Okay. At this time, I would like to entertain a motion as to Mr. Lynn's request that was brought out by a majority motion from that committee, whereas the appropriate administrative staff can implement whatever actions required for that to be put in place.
It's going to have to wait. That requires enlarging the agenda, and it's just going to have to be posted.
Committee reports doesn't come under this?
No, but you just made a motion.
Okay. I thought committee reports, I thought that was...
He's giving a report that's not an item of business. We would have to enlarge the agenda to take this off.
All right. If we would so note, let's add that to the upcoming the next meeting on the agenda. Also, Mr. McClung?
Yes.
Any word relative to anything, any action on the air conditioning? Where are we on that?
I wrote an email to Mr. Dale Sibling and asked him for an update, and Shirley gave me an update, which we already knew. I asked specifically for what's going on with the contract, how soon can we expect it to get started, and I didn't get an answer to either one of his questions. And I told him, in my email to him, that it was difficult to get a direct answer out of his organization. Because I guess my frustration is we've been trying to get one, and we have not been able to get one yet. So his answer to me was that contact Shelley, and I contacted Shelley, and she said, well, they're waiting for more information. Well, we knew that before we contacted them. So the answer to that question is still no status on the roof repairs at the present time.
Okay, that's my report, Mr. President.
Anyone else? Cox, do you have a report on your meeting?
Yeah, meeting today for the upcoming departure of Jerry, we got down to 12 applications, and we'll be going through those applications and calling those applicants in for a brief interview in the near future, probably the first week of August. And we'll go from there slowly, but steady pace. Thank you, sir. Very good.
Thank you. All right, moving along. Citizens' comments. Anyone who wishes to address the commission on any matter other than zoning, please fill out one of these cards and come forward. We have Mr. Charles Bell. Please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Charles Bell. My address would be 18668 Old Cypress Circle, Prairieville, Louisiana, right outside of Baton Rouge. I appreciate the opportunity to come up here. I'm with Axion, Louisiana, a nonprofit organization that does micro-lending. I understand there's an ordinance that's being brought up before the Commission relative to that, and I want to explain a little bit about Axion, what we've done previously, and where we're going, how we got here to the state of Louisiana, and a little bit about myself. First of all, Axion was started in Texas, San Antonio to be exact, in 1994. It's a micro-lender. It means it helps people that don't have traditional access to credit and or money to start businesses or to fund capital for existing businesses.
Okay, Ken, let me since we have a time limit here, we're familiar with what you do. Tell us exactly what you want to do.
What we want to do, that's what I'm getting into. We have an office here.
We have background information. Tell us what you're going to do.
We have an office here. I have an office here in Shreveport, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, and Alexandria. What we want to do in Caddo Parish is to start, we've opened the office up. We want to fund it. The Beard Foundation has funded it with some money to start operations and to start lending in this community. We have a presence here out at the Southern University right now. I'm looking at some office space additionally downtown with the city to take that facility downtown. We are committed to doing business in the state. I have a 35-year lending background. I'm the Vice President of Operations for the state. We are going to make a presence here to help this community in the small business arena and lend to businesses that are going to be startup businesses primarily in this community. Again, that's pretty much it. Again, we've committed to the other areas of the state also. We are going to get some additional government funding through the federal government to lend some money in not only in this area but also through the entire state. Commissioners have any questions?
Anybody got any questions? Pearson?
Well, the funding that's requested from us, is that a loan or is that initial just a donation for lending? I mean, for sake of a better term.
Let's just say this, it can be either way. We have, the way it's stated in here, as I understand it, it's, part of it is operating capital. 75% of it is lending money out in the community. But there's 25% of it is going to be for operating capital over a 3-year period of time.
Okay, so there is a return on investment, is that what you're saying?
Well, again, it depends on how the commission wants to look at it. There are other parishes that have lent Axion money, and it's been like a revolving loan fund. That is, that as that money is lent out and comes back in, I have not seen the draft that Commissioner Jenkins has put together. I'm sorry. But Commissioner Jenkins has put together. I haven't seen the draft of that. I'm sorry. Again, I was brought on board about 30 days ago. But in other parishes, it has been either a loan, it's been a grant. Part of the money is used for operating capital, just as this has been proposed here. So again, that would be, it could grant or it could be a loan, one of the two. And it could be a revolving type of situation. That is, the principal comes back in, it's lent back out, and becomes actually Caddo Parish's pool of money that we administer.
Okay. Board members, how many?
Right now we have 14 board members. We have 2 from the state of Louisiana. We're going to add 2 more.
Do you have local, will that be local board members?
We will have a board member in each community that sits on the board out of each community or each parish within the state of Louisiana. We'll have one from Caddo. We're going to have one from East Baton Rouge Parish. We're going to have one from the Alexandria area and one from Orleans Parish.
Okay, so you won't have a board to review the applications, the loan applications?
Yes, sir. I misunderstood the question. We have an underwriting department. We are the largest micro lender in the United States. We have a thorough underwriting department, and those loans that are approved, there's an approval process just like there is at a bank.
Okay. So you will or will not have a local board to oversee the application process? That's what I'm asking. I mean,
no, the board at Axion does not overlook the applications. They are underwritten. There's a matrix that has been designed. There is a template that is used, an automated underwriting system that is used. It goes from tier 1 to 5, depending on the loan size. Again, we do loans from $500 to $100,000, depending on the loan size. There's an approval authority within the organization to approve those loans.
Okay, that's what I was trying to get after. So, how would we follow our money?
How will you follow our money? Your money will be reported back to you, just like it is in any other parish. We can track that money, what monies is being lent in this community, how many loans we have made. We do that on an annual basis now to other communities throughout the state. We've been operating in Orleans Parish now for approximately 1 year. So again, it's been done and migrated from Texas over here. So that pool of money, we can report back to the commission exactly what that money's been used for, how many loans were put out, how much dollars was put out, what's the return, what's the losses, all that stuff can be done. All that information is, all the systems and the technology are in place to be able to do that.
Okay. I would, I just would, and I don't know if I'm being too picky about it, but I would just like to have someone, if we were gonna put up $200,000, and I like the program, don't get me wrong, and I certainly would want someone to, what they say, follow the money. I want to know, what we're doing, somebody who could report to us and say, and you're telling me that you do that on an annual basis.
I would do it on a quarterly basis, or however the commission sees fit to be able to do that. I would be more than happy to do that.
Okay.
I'm the Vice President of Operations for the state. I'd be more than happy to do that, and you can put that in the...
Okay. I like to do it on a quarterly basis. Yeah.
I can do that. That's not a problem.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Anyone else?
I have
Okay, Commissioner Cox?
How many other parishes have you shopped this to?
How many other parishes have we shopped this to? I can tell you right now that I've been in contact with East Baton Rouge Parish. East Baton Rouge Parish did, about 2 years ago, did a contract with a competitor, and that competitor does loans $250,000 and above, never got to the micro lending part of the transaction. They are actually in technical default right now. I'm going to meet with Mayor Kip Holden to see if we can't take over that contract. That company's made 17 loans in a 2-year period of time. Again, we just don't do that. Axion is the largest micro lender in the United States. We're getting ready to take over 2 entities within San Antonio that total about $20 million because they want out and they understand that we are the best at what we do. So it'll be East Baton Rouge Parish, Alexandria, Rapides Parish. Red River Bank has given us a grant of $400,000 over a 3-year period of time. The Rapides Foundation has given us, I think, in a grant, $200,000 or $300,000. Locally, the Beard Foundation has put up, they gave us a second installment of it already. The Beard Foundation here locally has put up $150,000. There are some other nonprofit or trusts out there that I believe in this parish are going to grant us some money to be able to put out in the street to create businesses and create an atmosphere that there's a void right now. I spent 35 years in banking, a lot of that time in the 1980s when the oil bust occurred around here in 90. I'm very familiar with this community back then in that era. I can tell you this, that I came on board because of, I know there's a void out there and what banks are approving now and the tightening of the underwriting, and I believe that's going to occur for the next 2 to 3 years.
Well, you just said that one entity had 17 loans over a 2-year period, and your company, say somebody wanted a $60,000 loan, and they had all their paperwork done. What is the turnaround?
We can turn around a deal under $100,000, closing a deal in 7 to 10 business days at $100,000 level. 5,000 to probably 15, 48 hours for an approval. It's automated. We have the only automated, we're underwriting right now for 14 nonprofit organizations throughout the United States. We're underwriting their transactions.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
So you're actually operational right now in the state, in Rapides and in Orleans Parish?
Rapides, Orleans, Baton Rouge, and here.
Oh, so you are operational?
We have an office here, yes, ma'am.
I mean office, but I mean as far as the foundations or the government or whoever has put money in to actually...
Yes, ma'am. We had a grand opening last week for their office here, and Susan Beard, the Beard Foundation, her brother, presented us with a second installment of a $75,000 check. It's $150,000.
So you're operational in Orleans Parish, Rapides, East Baton Rouge, and Shreveport. And
Shreveport. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What about Jefferson Parish?
Jefferson Parish is covered by the Orleans office.
Okay. So there is you are active operationally in Jefferson Parish as well?
The office that we have in Orleans Parish covers that entire...
Oh, Orleans, Jefferson?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, gotcha. First, I want to definitely thank Senator Jenkins for bringing this...
I won't live that down. I won't live that down, Commissioner, I can tell you.
You say Senator what? The Senator. Because, I'm just a firm believer in Caddo leading and not being behind when it comes to being innovative and to looking at ways to grow the economy here. And we are the fourth largest parish, and I'm looking at these other parishes. Of course, Orleans, Jefferson, and East Baton Rouge are the three parishes that are larger than we are. And I certainly don't want to be outdone by Rapides, but having the state president of all the governing bodies, police juries and commissions and councils and all of that on the Caddo Parish Commission, and not leading in innovative program development, whether that's micro lending or the green economy, is just, unacceptable. So I applaud you all's commitment to coming to the state, because a lot of companies, for whatever reason, and even this oil thing has even further, impacted negatively our economy. And so I think it's going to be very important for Northwest Louisiana, Caddo Parish, to continue to lead in the area of the economy and developing innovative ways to help our business persons, because we know small and medium-sized businesses are really the backbone of not only the American economy, but our economy here locally. So thank you, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Commissioner, I appreciate you. One of the things I'd like to say is how Axion was invited here was by the FDIC, the OCC, and those people came to us and again, knew that there was a need over here. So, again, I appreciate the commission. Any other questions?
Anybody else? Okay, I have a couple of questions. This is the parent company. I want to know something about your organizational chart. It's Axion Texas Incorporated, right?
It's Axion Texas Inc. is how it was done. It's Axion Louisiana here. It is a Louisiana company.
Doing business as Axion Louisiana according to what this ordinance states. Okay, so it's a Texas company doing business in Louisiana under that name. Okay. Does that include all of your presences in Louisiana, or does this organization have a different LLC or company charter as the one in New Orleans, or how is your Louisiana organization structured?
The Louisiana organization is structured with all the offices under one umbrella.
One umbrella, okay, so common banking, common pool of funds, the whole 9 yards. But you just track them?
That is correct.
I'm just trying to find out about your organization.
That is correct.
That's all.
Yes.
So if one shuts down, they all shut down. It's a chain reaction. They're not independent entities, correct?
They're not independent entities, that's correct.
Okay, you've been up and running in Texas since 1994.
That is correct.
Do you have a tracker? What's your default rate over the last 5 years?
Default rate over the last 5 years, I can tell you this, that again is documented. We have a 95% repayment capability in our portfolio. Losses last year in tracking the national averages, and Commissioner, I could get you that information, but over the last 5 years, we are way ahead of the curve as far as micro lenders are concerned. When I say way far ahead of the curve, I mean that our losses have been less than all other micro lenders combined. The other part of that is that what I will say about our losses are, we have only had in the history of 17 years, 1 year, and I think it was 2002, that we did not have a net fund balance, which means in the business world, that means net profit, but it's a net fund balance in a nonprofit organization. So 1 year out of 17 years.
Okay, so you outshine your competitors, that's commendable. What's your percentage, what was your, this last year, what was your loss in 2009? What was your default rate? Don't know?
I don't know, Commissioner, I'll get you that information.
I mean, I'd like to know. These are, from what I understand, non-traditional loans. These are loans that banks will not make. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And basically what the Beard Foundation, did the Beard Foundation, have they loaned you this $150,000 or is this a grant?
It is a grant.
Same thing that you're basically requesting of us, a grant.
That is correct.
So regardless of how these loans are paid back, or if they're paid back, and what percentage of interest and profit you make, we're out the money and we're not going to see a dime of it back according to the way this ordinance is written. Is that correct? We'll see maybe the creation of jobs and these kind of things, and hopefully they're successful, but we won't see any direct money back to this body.
You're not, the way that is written, that's exactly correct.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know. Mr. Thibodeau, you said that most of your loans are for startup, or did you say all of your loans are for startup businesses?
Majority of loans are for startup businesses. That is correct.
A small business who wants to expand, would they be eligible?
Yes.
And how do you handle the political pressure? I'm serious. I mean, that's a biggie.
I think,
there's going to be a lot of folks saying, hey, my brother-in-law wants to start the business, you want to loan him $50,000? And when you say no, they're going to say, well, I'm not voting for you next year.
Commissioner, I can tell you this, and there's an instance in Alexandria right now that went through Red River Bank and was referred to us, that was turned down. If it does not fit the policy that is in place, now again, I'll tell you this, are there exceptions made? The answer to that question is yes. But if it doesn't fit the policy that's in place, we are not going to, regardless of who that is, we are not going to reach out there to grab that loan because of political pressure. That's not going to happen. Again, I've been doing this, I've been lending for 35 years. I was a commercial loan officer of 12. That's not going to happen. And I run the state.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Bell.
Thank you.
All right, moving along. Anybody else wish to address the commission body at this time? If not, old business, have none?
No, sir.
New business?
Yes, sir. Ordinance 5001 addresses the matter just discussed. Amended gas fund provided appropriation $200,000 for Axion, Texas.
Move to Thursday. Second. Been moved by Mr. Jenkins to move to Thursday, seconded by Ms. Baker. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Mr. President.
Mr. Jenkins.
I would like to make some comments on this ordinance. I think it's important that we put out a few things here. I certainly do not want this proposal to be taken as something risky or only as a loan program, or that we out there trying to make some bad loans. I don't want it looked at like that. What this really is an economic initiative. And we are leaders. It's an economic initiative. It's about building businesses, about creating jobs, it's about adding to the tax base, and it's about helping our local economy. It's not just about loans, and it's certainly not about making bad loans, because when I hear language about, for some reason we say something about these are loans that banks refuse to make, that's really not accurate. Now, we put out an abundant amount of information. I think it's the second time that Axion has come down and made their presence here. And I had circulated the proposed ordinance and a draft of the cooperative endeavor agreement that has to follow this. And I'm assuming that people read that. But, just hearing some of the things I heard today, I'm wondering if we did. This is about helping our small businesses. 77% of all jobs are created by small businesses. We talk about future planning. It's a big issue here in this area now. Future planning involves the need for more retail outlets, restaurants, and businesses that provide services for daily living. The development of these businesses are not going to happen by accident. They're certainly not going to happen through wishful thinking. It takes some planning, and it's going to take some partnering with people who can make it happen. I was being interviewed, as some of you know, and I'm not trying to bring up any kind of politics in there, I'm running for city council, but I was being interviewed by some people just last week who were talking about the Red River District, what I think is one of the most valuable pieces of real estate in the city, and it sits there pretty much idle. And I'm not pointing a finger at anybody, and I'm not trying to say it's anybody's fault, but I am saying you can't expect businesses to open in places like that without some help. You got to create an atmosphere that's going to allow it to happen. We just can't sit back and wake up one morning and expect businesses to be down there. Having the right financial partners at the table is a very important piece of the puzzle. This proposal, I've been working with the parish attorney on this. If you take a look at if you look beyond the order, if you take a look at the corporate endeavor agreement that's going to follow, you're going to see that it has just about every safeguard imaginable to protect the parish's money and to protect the parish's interest in what we're trying to do here. This will be a program that will help Caddo residents, help businesses that are going to be based in Caddo. What we're talking about is up to a $500,000 appropriation over a 3-year period of time. It's going to be done on an annual basis. It's not going to be a lump sum of money that we're going to give to someone to run away with over 3 years. Year 1, you're looking at an appropriation of $200,000. Year 2, an appropriation of $150,000. And in year 3, an additional appropriation of $150,000. 75% of that money is going to go into a loan fund to make loans to businesses, start-up businesses. 25% is going to go towards the initial administrative expenses that are involved with starting a business, or operating a business, or helping a business to function. Now, in year 1, and the loan funds in year 1, that'll be $150,000. If that balance is not exhausted by the time year 2 come around, the commission could reduce the commitment that we're making for year 2. Say, for instance, if it's $150,000 and they've only made $50,000 worth of loans, when we go into year 2, you can reduce it by that $100,000. So the amount of money, this is saying we're going up to $500,000. They can say we got to hit the $5,000 mark. Can be reduced or fashioned in some way. And the same principle will be in place for year 3. The money will be tracked on a quarterly basis to ensure that it's going to Caddo residents, that it's helping Caddo businesses. And then there are a lot of other protections that are in place there. There will be some provisions in the corporate endeavor agreement for either repayment or reinvestment of the loan funds to the parish over this 3-year period of time. I think the corporate endeavor agreement will help us to understand exactly what we're doing. Now, if the concern is we're making bad loans or there have been failure of other programs, if you go back and you take a look at that on some of those programs, I think the problem was not the vision. It was a good vision. It was the implementation of the program. A lot of those programs involved the local municipality itself trying to oversee it, govern it, administrate it, and implement it. Ran into problems. Here we have a leading micro-lending organization. 16-year history of doing the business. One of the best at what they do. They manage an active portfolio in excess of $20 million. They made over 9,000 loans and got a 95% repayment rate. 95%. And they have a presence here in our parish. And the concern is we're competing with banks. We are not. This is a complement to what banks do. In fact, leading banks such as Chase, Regions, and Capital One are funding partners. They risk money that way? I don't think so. They are funding partners with this venture. The process, as they say, it helps to develop customers who can come into the banks and make loans. These are not loans going to people who are having trouble. These are loans going to people who cannot meet the criteria, the collateralization that most of your major banks require. They don't change that just because they like it. You got to meet it. That's what this is about. If the question is why are we providing administrative funding, I bet you a dime against your dollar. If you go look at the tax incentives, tax breaks, tax abatements, tax exemptions that we make for companies to either locate here or to stay here, it's going to far exceed what we're doing here. And what I'm asking is that we give the initiative a chance to work. There are a lot of safeguards. There's going to be an agreement that has to be entered between the parish. There'll be plenty of time for more input from any of you as to what that agreement will hold. Am I correct, Mr. Griller? Yeah. Nothing has been signed yet. You know, and I'm going to say this and I'll be done with it. I remember the wake up that tragedy with the space shuttle Challenger. There are a lot of questions as to whether America should continue to venture into space. Now, I didn't agree with a lot of things President Ronald Reagan had to say, but there's one thing I do remember him saying, and it stuck with me. He said, the future does not belong to the faint-hearted, it belongs to the brave. This is not a risk. This is an economic initiative. It has its safeguards in place. I'm simply saying give the initiative a chance to work. We can take another look at it at the end of the year, see where we are. Things we want to change or do, we can. But let's not give in to our fears. Let's be leaders at what we're trying to do. Move forward with a vision that's going to help some businesses open. You have one GM that closed down, thousands of jobs lost, affect a lot of people. This is a chance for us to help the little guy. Hundreds of our citizens who can develop businesses. That one failure, you got 99 success stories. Give the initiative an opportunity to work. That's all I'm asking. And you'll have an opportunity to have your input with it. Nothing. There isn't a deal until the cooperative endeavor agreement is signed. That input can be there for some of the concerns that we may have. All right. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Jenkins. Mr. Lynn?
As a small business person, I've certainly needed loans, and I've gotten turned down for loans, and every time I've gotten turned down for loans, I've looked back and I've reevaluated and realized that I wasn't in the right spot to get a loan, and that I needed to get in the right spot, and I shored up things, and I hunkered down, and I did some things, and I tightened up, and maybe I asked for less the next time, but things changed before I asked for the loan. After listening to the presentation, I have the same answer for either way it goes. I can't vote for this. Number one, according to this, their 95% success rate, they're charging interest rates, I'm guessing. They're making money on putting together a loan that they don't need us. And if they're not successful, then I don't want to put the money there either. And for us to give $200,000 to a company that either A, is making a profit and can operate on their own here, or B, not making a profit and is losing money, my answer is no either way. Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Dominic?
Mr. Grubb, I just had a question. This was on our agenda a few months ago. Would it need to be introduced again, or apparently we're going to be voting on this for Thursday if it passes, is that correct?
It's on your agenda for introduction.
All y'all do today is have an opportunity to move it forward to Thursday. I understand.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, I have a few comments, and I'm not going to respectfully just to Commissioner Jenkins, I see what the intent is, but I see things a little different. I would like to see a process to where people can get help starting businesses. I've been in business all my life, and as Mr. Lynn, as most of you have, I know the ups and downs of it. I also know that the last time that this was done in a big way around here, as you mentioned, you must have been referring to the city's program under Mayor Hazel Beard, which still has about $108 million worth of uncollected. That doesn't mention what was written off in the past, just out there on the books uncollected. That didn't work, possibly because the city tried to do it themselves without professional help. So I don't have a problem with the concept. I don't have a problem with, and I don't mean to, I know what it's like to have everything together and the bank not sign off on you. They tend to be a little more cautious. What concerns me is that we could have just had a group of citizens come to us and say, we want to do micro lending. You give us the money, just give it to us, and we're going to lend it out in the community, businesses, and we'll hope everything flies right. So basically, we're setting up this entity here. We're getting them started. We're giving their money. We're giving their operating capital, a part of it to get started. That's what Beard's done with the grant. And they can use 25% for operations, which right now they know what their overhead would run for the next 3 years, and the rest of it they have to promise to loan out. And what do they have invested on their own? Nothing. What risk do they have? Nothing. it's all taxpayers' money because we've given it to them. So it's like if I would ask someone to say, you know, I want to start a business, I need $500,000, give me $500,000, I'm going to go out there and we'll start the business and hope I succeed. And my success and your pride in me is all you're ever going to get out of it. Of course, I'll be paying taxes and all that from a local standpoint. And then the next problem I have with it, not to knock Mr. Bell, because he sounds like he's from South Louisiana, which is fine with me, but we've got a company from Texas coming, and basically we're taking Louisiana taxpayer money, Caddo money, we're saying, here it is, go out there, and no risk involved, hope it works. And we're giving it to them. It's a gift. Hoping we get some people on the tax rolls, hoping we get some other things. I'd rather take this money and give it to Providence House because I know it's staying in this community and doing something. And it's a Louisiana company. I'd rather give it to the GM effort. This is not like we're loaning any money. It's a gift. It's basically starting an entity, allowing it to start in Caddo Parish. A business to start. That's what it is. I mean, there's no payback structure in here. It's nothing. It is what it is. And I'm saying I'd rather do this with somebody who was born and raised here, a group of investors, maybe some bankers. If we're going to get into the loan business and seed loans, and at least have people who understand the local community here, what the local business environment can have, then have a company from Texas who comes in and hires some good fellow there from South Louisiana. We don't know anything about Caddo Parish. We'll get right down to it. And that's what we're doing. It'd be like if I came to this body and said, hey, I'm going to go into finance business. I'm going to make these small loans. Y'all give me $500,000 over 3 years, and I'll make it happen. Just trust me. By the way, I'm not going to give anything back, and I'm going to make some money on the interest and all this. I'm just saying, what are we doing here? There are other programs out here if we want to foster this kind of development, that we plant the seed money, that Caddo Parish actually puts money up, and it basically can go into escrow or an insurance type account like a reserve, where we can actually back these loans and receive benefits from the proceeds and be insured against these type loans. There are other programs out there that are innovative above and beyond this. It's much safer, but it's not just a flat-out grant. And all that is a grant. And basically, at the end of the day, what this comes down to is I have to answer to my constituents and all of us and saying, yes, over a 3-year period, we gave $500,000 to this company that they were able to turn around and loan and make money off of, and they weren't even from here. That's all I've got to say. Ms. Lynch, you can go second, go round.
Okay.
quick. I'm not going to really bash anybody being from Texas, since a lot of people think Shreveport is in Texas, is part of Texas, but obviously people coming from Texas have poured a lot of money not only into the city of Shreveport coffers, but into Caddo Parish coffers when they come over and do a little exercise on the slot machines and the tables and so on and so forth. And so, you know, I mean, we have companies in Caddo Parish from, you know, that are based out of other states, including, you know, General Motors, which is part of the issue that we're having with that facility right now, which they no longer own and somebody else owns, and so on and so forth. Pratt Industries, an Argentine company that is at the port, as well as some other companies that are not Louisiana-based, that we have through tax credits, incentives, exemptions, land donations, and so forth and so on. Although you may not see the transfer of money because we never get it, because it's been exempted. And so, you know, let's be fair and not compare apples and oranges to make a case. You know, if you're not for something, you know, for whatever those reasons are, that's fine, but let's just compare apples to apples. Thank you. Mr. President.
Mr. Epperson.
We're ruling places as far away as China. I think we were looking at the organization that may have wanted to take over the Hummer name, had that gone through. We did all that we can do. I think we met with them one night, and somebody, a consultant, carried them out and fed them in a big storm. What are we doing? Hey, we're taking a risk. That's what all this crap is all about. When you go out in the West Shreveport Industrial Park, out with General Motors off of West 7, you see all those rail spurs. You see all those sewer and those water lines. You see those roads. And you see the abatements that the school board as well as this commission voted on to forgive those taxes in the event that they spent money and things of that nature. Those are investments. Those are gambles. Those are risks. Sometimes they win, sometimes they lose. But hey, we have to try them. What are we going to do now? Go down South Louisiana and tell them to bag up some oil and bring it up here and have us to clean it out and store that up? What do we have to offer? So we need to be innovative and do some things that's going to help our people here locally. That $500,000 is no different than $500,000 spent in infrastructure or $500,000 spent in tax rebates over a prorated period of time. And I think it's an effort that we should explore and try to offer to our small businesses here in Shreveport, and I will be supporting that.
Thank you, Mr. Epperson. Commissioner Pearson?
I'll be supporting it also. I think that, you know, first of all, nobody else has, I'm sure there may be other companies, maybe somebody that's local, but, you know, we'd have to go and find them. I mean, this company has come to us and asking to do something for people who pay taxes. I mean, people who are seeking loans are also taxpayers. And so they aren't just people who don't pay taxes or people who are vagrant in some kind of way. I think there are people who also pay taxes and who deserve a shot at their economic dream. And I'm going to support it because I think we have an opportunity here to do something, you know, that's going to make a difference. And we don't often have, you know, a lot of opportunities. And I think we're gonna, if we do it, and I hope we do, then it'll give us an opportunity to really make a difference in someone's lives and somebody's opportunity, and I support that. And I hope that we can do it and move forward, and if for some reason this year doesn't work out, then we can just cancel it next year. I mean, there are all kinds of ways that we can have stopgaps so that we can protect ourselves. But we take gambles all the time, just like previous commissions have said, and we just hope that the people in the community appreciate what we're trying to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. Ms. Baker?
Yes, me being an economic development advocate and especially working with the city on projects that an organization that I serve as executive director of, and getting their support on a lot of different projects and programs, kind of makes me feel a little jealous in my spirit because of the fact that I serve on a government body that kind of pushes away and shy away from supporting small businesses or even supporting programs that come to us for small businesses. And like the other commissioner says, it's time for us to actually step up and take some risk even, and step up and start supporting some of these small businesses or small entities that are coming to us, especially out of some of our districts that are inner city, that are asking us, what is it that you can do to help support us? And basically they'll start telling us what the city's doing, and I get a little tensed about that because of the fact that the city is doing stuff, and here I am serving on a governmental body, and I'm not getting the support or getting what we need to actually do some of the same things that they're doing. And I feel like if they can do it, and the opportunity comes for us to serve constituents of the parish, even in the inner city district, then I think that we should also take that risk and start looking at some of those opportunities and avenues for some of our people as well. So I'm in support of it. That's all.
Thank you, Commissioner Baker. Anybody else this side? Commissioner Cox?
The history of stuff like this throughout the city is where it got a bad name. Okay? And us as commissioners, I've told everybody from day one since I've been here, and I'm sure everyone else has, is that we don't make a move unless we know the whole story. We put the subject in a circle, draw a circle around it, and hit it from all sides so we know exactly what we're getting into. We don't make a bad decision by chance. A program not too long ago, well, I guess it has been long ago, you had car washes never built. You had funds for businesses, for restaurants that were never opened. I don't have a problem with working with small businesses. I don't have a problem with having somebody sit out here and say, my dream is to have my own store or my own restaurant or my own business. I mean, that's what the American dream is. The only problem I had with this, and the only problem I had with it the first time, is that if we give $200,000 and we turn down, or they turn down one person for a loan, but give somebody else a loan, how are we as commissioners going to explain that? Because no matter how many times they talk to him or the loan officers, you're not going to make everybody happy. Another red flag that I got a question about, they've only made so many loans in 2 years, 17 loans. Well, $200,000, I don't know about y'all, but if you haven't started up a company lately, it takes more than $10,000. I mean, taxes alone and permits and you name it. If you're opening up a business, it's not just a little drop in the bucket. I'd love for this to work. I really would. But there's that one piece of it that I've got a problem with. If you are a business person and you get a loan from this entity, I've got to have it in writing that they're going to pay something back, or at least the principal back. If they pay the principal back to the parish, where we see at least we break even and we help somebody get started, I don't have a problem with that. Okay? But I got to have it in writing, because I've heard two different stories here. I've heard one that says, the way this is written, there's no payback. But in the Endeavor agreement, there is. Okay? So, I don't mind sticking my neck out for small business. Lord knows that's all I deal with on a day-to-day basis. Because without them, my business wouldn't be nowhere. What I need to have is a complete understanding is that if the parish loans out $200,000 within a quarter, I want to see how much of that has been spent out, where those businesses are, and are we getting our return back monthly? You know, if they loan it out, do they pay it back on a monthly note like they would a regular bank? And at that time, would they put that money into a Caddo fund that says, okay, we loan out $40,000, your $200,000 this past quarter, and we've already started seeing payments made on that, and it's going back into your fund. I'm really not hip on our money going in with Alexandria's money and East Baton Rouge's money and all that. That means my money is going down to Baton Rouge. That's what I heard. If that's the way it is, okay, he's shaking his head no, so, but that's what I heard. I heard all the money goes into one entity. Okay. I'm willing to do what's right for small business, but as a business, business owners around here, it wouldn't be fair to anybody who goes out for a loan to get something for nothing. And then say, you know, tried it for a month, I ain't got to pay it back, so what? There's got to be consequences. There has to be something within the writing of this that says, okay, I've got to put something up. It's just like a business loan, correct? It is a business loan. So when they come in and they've been turned down by 3 banks or whatever the criteria is, they still have to have something to put up. Correct? Correct.
The loans are collateralized, not all of them, there's some unsecured.
Okay. So that's all. I want it to work like a bank, but I also want it to have Caddo coming back with something. Okay, 95%, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good turnaround, but like Mr. Lynn said, 95%, that other 5% is going to either make us or break us if they're big loans. So, I'd love to do it, but I just need to have something in ironclad writing. Thank you.
Mr. Jenkins. All right, thank you, Mr. President. I think Commissioner Cox, and I appreciate the comments you made. And I think what may be going around the chamber is maybe some misunderstanding of the concept. Now, we put this thing out here a long time ago. Some time ago. I pulled it because people still had some questions about it. Now, I understand what I'm saying. If you're against it, you're against it. I understand that. I have to respect that. There are certain things going to come up here that I may not be for. But I want it to be, I just want to make sure that the information that's being provided is correct. What the ordinance does, it's going to authorize the administrator to enter into a cooperative endeavor agreement. And that's why I'm saying all of these things that we may have concerns about can be addressed in the cooperative endeavor agreement. It's not a deal until you get the cooperative endeavor agreement done, okay? In that cooperative endeavor agreement, we're going to address, the issue of the repayment or reinvestment of the principal amounts of monies that is being furnished to Axion by the parish. That's going to be addressed in there. So to say we're giving somebody some money that we're never going to see again, that's incorrect information. There will be a repayment or reinvestment of those funds, of those principal funds coming back to the parish. The other thing is, I agree, all of this has to be in writing. I feel like we'll have an opportunity before this thing, between now and then and final passage of it, if it moves forward today, to address our issues in the cooperative endeavor agreement. Now, this is about our citizens. This is not about Texas. And I echo the sentiments that came from Commissioner Lynch. It's not about Texas.
This is about our citizens. We're going to attract Caddo money going to Caddo citizens and businesses that are based in Caddo. The corporate endeavor agreement is going to provide for all of that, to make sure that that's what our monies are doing. So this is not about doing something with somebody out of state. As we all know, we're bringing a lot of businesses from out of state, for a lot of different reasons. But this is about our citizens, our small businesses, and what we're trying to do here in the state. I'm actually give the initiative an opportunity, give it a chance to work. Your input is welcome. I've never brought anything before this commission where I turned down somebody's input. I've never done it, okay, and I never will. Your input is welcome. Having local board representation, that's still an open discussion that's been going on with some of the people I've talked with Axiom. Okay, so I'm saying there are a lot of these things that can be addressed and would be better addressed in the cooperative endeavor agreement. So there's going to be an opportunity to refine what we're trying to do. Okay? All right, so that's what I want to try to bring to the table. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Jenkins. Anyone else? Mr. Thibodeau? On the abatements and the donations and building of infrastructure that we made for other companies who have come from out of town or regardless of where they were local or not, General Motors, Pratt, in all those instances, we put up either money or in-kind contributions, but so did they. General Motors came in here and spent, almost $1 billion on that. $1 billion to build a plant that have operated here over 30 years, although, it's going downhill now. During the, say, first 25 years, they employed an average of 2,500 people. That's millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars of income that came into the local parish, which in turn we received in tax in some way, shape, or form. Pratt's another example. They've come into the port, and there were abatements given them. But they've also spent several $1 million building a plant and have employed 300 or 400 people. So when you talk about comparing apples to apples, GM and Pratt and those types of companies, that's no comparison at all to what we're being asked to do. We're being asked to give money to a company, and I agree, the concept is outstanding. The concept is outstanding. But there was one comment made that these are loans that a bank doesn't want to fool with. And then I think there was someone who said, well, that's not really what it is. Well, of course that's what it is, because if the bank wanted to fool with it, there would be no need for the micro-lending industry. But the bank doesn't want to fool with it for whatever reason. They don't want to fool with it. So, this is in fact a niche type program, but the concept is good, but I'm in disagreement with the vehicle that's stated in this ordinance, because Axiom or whatever other company would come in here as a micro lender, they have no skin in the game at all. They stand nothing to lose. They put up a penny. They are guaranteed 25% of where the money we and others give them for operations. I mean, that's unbelievable. That's one heck of a deal. They have no skin in the game. Everything else that we've done, and the city's done, and the state does, those companies have some skin in the game. They put up some dollars in some way, whether it's some construction, hiring a bunch of people or whatever. But in this case, it's just a gimme. And it may turn out to be a successful program. I don't know. But I just have a problem with our handing over money to somebody, and I don't care whether they're local, out of town, or whatever, without them putting any skin in the game at all. I guarantee you, if you go to the bank and you ask for a loan, whether it's a small loan or a car loan, in most cases, the bank's going to say, well, we'll do 80% of it, or we'll do 90% of it. We're being asked to do 100% of it, and that's my problem with it. I want the company that this company stands to make a profit, even though it's a non-profit organization. It stands to make money off of our money, And I would at least want to see something in terms of, if they make 3%, then 3% of that money goes toward their operations. I don't think we should guarantee their operations. That's $125,000 over 3 years. So that's why I can't support this. There's still, the concept is outstanding, and I hope we can find a way to make small loans to small businesses, not only startups, but businesses that are already in business. But I don't think this is the way that we should do it.
Anyone else? Commissioner Cox? One more time. If this goes through, then the Endeavor agreement will basically tell yes or no. It can still fail or not be approved through the administration and Endeavor agreement plus the board, correct? I mean, all we're doing is move it to Thursday for further discussion through the Endeavor agreement, correct?
Well, what's going to follow this ordinance is a corporate Endeavor agreement. I just spoke with the parish attorney.
But yet, we haven't finalized it yet.
We haven't finalized it, that's correct. Nothing has been signed, approved, or agreed to. So we have the means of participating in the corporate Endeavor agreement to address whatever, our issues are, whatever those concerns are. And I can appreciate what everybody around this table said. I don't have a problem with it because this ain't about me. This is about our small businesses and what we can do to assist them. That's what I see here. And I know other people see other things, but that's what I see here. And all I'm simply saying is we can address a lot of the things I'm hearing right now in the cooperative Endeavor agreement, if that's what we want to do. If we say we want this to work, it can. If we made up our mind it's not going to work, then it won't.
I apologize to the president because I was asking a direct question to Mr. Jenkins, so I would need to get an answer from him. That's all I need. Thank you.
Commissioner Epperson.
Mr. Good, there isn't even a draft of the cooperative endeavor at this time, right? It's the only thing we're looking at this point, am I correct?
It's the only thing you're looking at today, Commissioner Epperson, but there is a draft of an agreement that I've put together and shared with the Commissioner, but it didn't get finalized at this stage of the game, but should the Commission move forward with the ordinance, the cooperative endeavor agreement, a draft of it can certainly be given to y'all before any substantive action.
And there'll be an opportunity to peruse it and make suggestions or whatever. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
If I may, Mr. President, we did circulate an initial draft. We sent it by email. Nobody got it?
No, we got it. I just didn't like it.
We got it. With all due respect, I'm just, as a suggestion, basically when we have something that's not etched in stone like this, it's very complicated, that I think everybody here would love to see this work. Generally, it's kind of like, it's a pre-game plan, and before you do that, you go hustle your troops and support together. Nobody's directly contacted me to explain this, to ask for my support. I just don't think you did. You tilled your soil real well before you planted your crop. Got your ducks in a row. Because I very much want to see this work. And my problem with it is that if we had the cooperative endeavor agreement, and I knew what it said, and we had those tweaked out, I could get over the ordinance part. But the ordinance part here, if you read it clearly, and I'm not sure how it implies by the law, is that we're going to go ahead and pass this ordinance which will appropriate those funds and allow the administrator to enter that agreement, allow the administrator to enter that agreement. That doesn't necessarily say we have to come back and sign off on it. So then we're putting the whole burden on Mr. Wilson. I'd like to see the agreement so that we have the things that concern us first, at least in principle. We don't have to pass it, but at least the rough draft to get rid of those concerns before we appropriate the money. Because there's one line in this ordinance that says, whereas the Caddo Parish Commission would like to contribute $500,000. That's not a loan, there's no repayment, there's nothing in it. There's none of the things we're talking about. Contribute. That's what I'm stuck on right now. And without a broad outline and having this cooperative endeavor agreement tweaked and knowing pretty much what's in it, once Mr. Wilson will have the authority to execute it, I'm just a little bit concerned. And I want to comment on Mr. Thibodeau's comments. I very much want to find a way to support this, but I can't right now. Commissioner Pearson.
I think what we should do, because we all 14 days from Thursday, we have an opportunity to vote this up or down. I think we need to give ourselves an opportunity to look at what would be drawn up in terms of an agreement. Perhaps Monday before the meeting that we'll actually vote on it, at least by that time. Get an opportunity to look at what that cooperative endeavor agreement would look like. I think to shut the gate on this thing right now would be doing ourselves and our citizens an injustice. I think that if we move it to Thursday, get it introduced on Thursday, then we're talking sometime in August before we have to vote on it. Then maybe on a Monday or between Thursday and that time, we would have plenty of time to look at some economic endeavor agreement to make a determination as to whether or not this is something that we can go forward with, especially if most of us are interested in seeing something like this happen. We can't, I don't think we can make, if nothing is finalized, I don't think we can make, or should make that call today. I think we should give ourselves a chance, and the administration a chance, to take a look at this. And then, if it doesn't look good to us, we have that grand opportunity on the day of the final vote to vote this thing up or down.
Commissioner Pearson, if I may, I agree with you. We will have a month to look at this since we're finished for the month.
Right.
So we've got plenty of time, and I'd be willing to move it forward and let Mr. Jenkins and Mr. Bedwell satisfy all our concerns, and then I'm open to it on that basis. Anyone else? Okay, we will vote on the motion to move this forward. All the yays, please raise your hand.
Yeah.
Okay, voting yay is everyone but Commissioner Lynn. Commissioner Lynn, are you voting nay or you abstain? Commissioner Lynn is a nay. Having to do it the hard way, guys, bear with me.
Old-fashioned way.
Next item of business.
Orders 5002 rescind the sale of certain adjudicated property.
Do I have a motion? Motion with Commissioner Thibodeau to move to Thursday, seconded by Commissioner Pearson. Would anyone like to speak on the motion? Commissioner Dominic.
I want to speak, I have some questions.
Question, time to ask a question.
What are we actually rescinding, and why, and whose district is this in? It's in my district, okay? How can you rescind the sale if it's already gone? Don? Because of a legal matter. There was a lien on the property, and we didn't know that, so we had to rescind. We didn't have all these ordinances, I don't think I got.
I guess with Ms. Samuels having to break for emergency, we didn't have that information.
That was the reason why. It was a legal issue of the property having a lien on it, so we couldn't adjudicate it.
Okay. Well, if we move it to Thursday, can y'all clarify that by Thursday's vote and give us some more information on it?
Yes, sir.
I think I understand, so I'll vote for it.
All right. All those in favor of moving to Thursday, please raise your hand. That is unanimous. Next item, please.
Resolution 36 declares the Commission's intent to rezone property in the Caddo Industrial Park on Shirley Francis Road from I-1 light industry to RA resident agriculture.
Recommend moving forward to Thursday. Moved by Commissioner Epperson, seconded by Ms. McCullough. Is that correct? Any discussion on the motion? Commissioner Epperson.
Let me go back a little ways. I think I need to go back to my decision to keep the Caddo Parish Commission seat for District 12, which was sometime in 2007. It was truly not my desire to re-enter the political arena at that point in time. I'd served 12 years in District 6 and built us a home in the western part of that area. However, my reputation seemed to have followed me. And I was getting about as many calls and requests for things and aid and services to the citizens as I was when I was elected. Although I had moved in 2003 and it was still active up to 2007. And I think that's a good thing, because the number one responsibility as an elected official or commissioner that I would say is to represent the needs of the constituents, which I certainly will always try to do. I think this is about the third time that I have brought this issue up before this body. One time I brought it up, I don't think the body would even allow me to expand the agenda to put it on to discuss it, which I thought was, sort of a slap at my constituents, because I don't think there's any time that I can recall that I have ever refused to allow anyone to expand the agenda. As a matter of fact, I think I suggested that we add that section on to our agenda. And we all know how we arose at this situation, whereas the intent was to sell a certain amount of acreage in the Shirley Francis Industrial Park to a potential person, entity that was going to establish a business and create jobs, which my reason for opposing it was directly related to my responsibility as a commissioner to represent the wishes of my constituents. However, after this measure was voted down not to allow that to happen within that area, got a lot of calls, and I want everybody to fully understand that there isn't any one individual, no guru or no leader, be they religious, be they the head of any government organization or community organization, that's going to call Ken Epperson and put him into the woodshed, so per se, because of his decisions to represent his constituents as he feels that they want him to represent them. We also referred back to how this particular amount of property came to be in Industrial Park. Parish Davis was the commissioner at that time for District 12, and there's been basically the protocol that we all had followed since my tenure on the commission. I was first elected in October of 1991, took seat in January of 92. 12 years on the commission was to respect the wishes of that particular representative within that area. And I don't think there's anyone basically here can go back and say that Ken Epperson has not done that. You know, whatever you brought up in your district, I went with it. You come to me a little bit before the meeting, you ask me, hey, you know what's going on now. You know the wishes of your constituents. You know your agenda. I think the biggest thing that I have opposed was the pipeline and the right-of-way going through the Eddie Jones Park, because I was here with the inception of that park. And I think another issue that I sort of debated adamantly against was when we initially spoke about the oil and gas regulation and drilling and things and the problems that were arising when the oil and gas, the lease attendants were trying to get leases together, with the complaints that I heard from my constituents. And I think somebody even said, hey, somebody coming to my door offering me a check, I'll take it, no questions asked. However, we can see that those concerns that I made on June the 19th, 2008, those have come to fruition. Situation which I hope nothing ever arises on that pipeline going through Eddie Jones Nature Park that will cause anyone life, a limb, or any loss of property. Those things are happening now. We just had one in Monroe, gentleman got burnt. We had deaths, we had pipeline fires, we just had one in in South Shreveport, down the Old Road area where the people had to be evacuated for a certain length of time. All these things. These are things that we live and we learn through experience by listening at our constituents. Once again, I voted to have that property zone I-1 because it was the wishes of my colleague Forrest Davis, because he represented that district and he knew what was best at that particular point in time. However, even prior to that, we had a sign that sat there for a number of years stating that there was a future Caddo Parish Park. I don't know the status of the wheel company that's down there now. But I imagine if it's like any other suppliers to General Motors, I don't think the future's too bright on it. I don't know if they're operating 24/7, hiring or whatever. I have no issue with that particular piece of property being maintained as I-1. However, I also mentioned to this body to give me an opportunity, we delayed it for a while, to get back with my constituents and see what we would do in the future. And what they decided to do was to see if we can rezone that property back to RA, and we have an excellent proposal which I do not wish to divulge publicly at this time. I would like to discuss it with the administrative staff, see the legality of it, but it's something that we think would benefit the entire parish. However, it's contingent upon it being zoned RA. So it's nothing more. I just ask for you to respect the constituents of my district, their concerns, and vote today to advance this measure to Thursday, and also after Thursday vote to allow this change to happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Epperson. Anyone else? Mr. Pierce?
Will this prevent us at any time if we decide, and I guess I'm asking maybe a rhetorical question, if we get an opportunity that we just can't refuse in terms of a business or whatever, we can change that, can't we? We change that, if we decide to rezone it, we can rezone it again, can't we?
I believe that Mr. Grubb could probably enlighten us. I am told that if we decide we want to do this, then we put it in the MPC's hands for them to decide to do this. Is that not correct?
Yes, so this body can't rezone any property except upon a recommendation one way or the other from the MPC. So what Commissioner Epperson's resolution would do is direct an application be filed with the MPC to rezone the property. And then, depending on what the MPC does, you can still rezone the property. If the MPC, as you know, comes with a negative recommendation, it just takes a 2/3 vote of this body to rezone it. And of course, once you rezone the property, you can always rezone it back if you have another use for the property materialized.
Okay, I just would, I'm going to support Mr. Epperson's, but I just don't want to back myself up into a corner to where we, if it just comes to that we can't do something that we feel is for the greater good at some point. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Grubb.
I need to correct something I just said. This property is in the city limits of the city of Shreveport. So, what this body can do by resolution is direct that an application be made to the MPC to rezone the property, because we own the property. But the ultimate decision on whether the property is rezoned or not would have to be made by the city council. Isn't that correct?
Ultimate decision to do what?
Okay. Anyone else?
Council, because it's in the city.
Mr. Cox.
We had a company come in and look at it. Those jobs went to Bossier. And with the request of Mr. Everson, I went out there and looked at it because I was in trucking at that time, and came out with a conclusion that was a good area for that location. So we lost it. we're just now talking about small business loans. And the thing that's going to generate Caddo Parish, whether it be small business loans or a business that's willing to come in here, we don't know how many they were going to hire locally, but it's a tax base. And we could have got some jobs out of that. I think somebody sure would have got jobs within that region. If we turn it into a park, my question is, and you, Mr. Epson, correct me if I'm wrong, you were saying that y'all have a plan. Are you willing to give us a look at that plan? Because everybody's got two sides. Right now, I'm for the side that does not rezone it. But if you have a plan that tells us this would be better for your area, let me hear it.
Well, Mr. Cox, I think the initial plan that I've stated that would be better for my area is because this is the wishes of my constituents. However, at this point in time, I'm not willing to divulge that information.
Will it be a park?
No, but it would be something that would be in the public interest of this entire parish, and I think something that would be uniquely different.
So what if I vote for you, and all of a sudden this idea comes up, and I'm thinking, well, that wouldn't worth my vote. Then where am I sitting?
Well, I respect your decision, and I expect you to respect mine.
You understand where we're going here?
No, I'm just saying that the period of time that I've been here, we've had some good things, from the Ward 2 Industrial Park to people was hollering about, I don't want my veteran buried out there next to no monkeys, and now you can't stop them from going out there. So just bear with me.
Well, I know I stopped that bicycle guy from coming back here. I mean, veterans is one thing, a park is another, and you know that as well as I do. I'm really at a catch-22 simply because that you're hanging an apple in front of us, but you're not willing to divulge it. So we'll see what comes up. Thank you.
All right, any other discussion? If not, we will vote on moving this item to Thursday. All the yeas, Mr. Jenkins, Ms. McCullough, Ms. Lynch, Mr. Epperson, Ms. Baker, Mr. Pearson, Mr. Cox voting yea, nay, Dominic, Escade, Lynn, Thibodeau. It moves forward to Thursday. All right, next item, please.
Okay. Yes, sir. Authorize Donna Curtis to appear as a visitor Thursday.
Moved by Commissioner Lynn, seconded by Commissioner Cox. Any discussion?
He's coming to talk about Matthew.
Mr. Wilson? Mr. Wilson.
So you want to give us an update on their progress for the summer?
Oh, okay.
Okay. All those in favor, please? Aye. Aye. That's unanimous. Next item, please.
Discussion of term limits.
So moved. Second. Move to Thursday. Anybody want to speak?
Basically, I would just like to have something to go on the November 2nd ballot to give the citizens of Shreveport a chance to overturn the 1995 proposition that they put in place to either vote up or vote down term limits. And I have since we don't have a clerk here, well, I'll give it Jerry later and get those resolutions. Yeah, okay.
Hang on a second. Commissioner Epperson?
Okay, this measure will require a charter change.
No.
Would it?
Yes.
Charter amendment going to November ballot.
Well, yeah, for the November ballot, but those will change.
Okay, this can be made with a simple resolution by the body. We don't have to have this doesn't have to come from a committee, right?
No. Anybody can bring forth this. Thank you. Anyone? Pardon me?
That's right.
Well, it's going to take an ordinance and a resolution. The resolution to call the election, but the charter provides the changes are proposed by ordinance. So if the commission's desire is to move forward with the election, we have to get it, the efforts have to be finalized in time to get everything down to the Secretary of State's office by the 17th of September for inclusion on the November 4th ballot.
So my recommendation would be, if the commission wants to move forward, that we would that you would introduce an ordinance next time, and you could also do the resolution next time, or wait until the ordinance is finally passed to have the resolution on the election.
So next time, meaning Thursday?
Yes, discuss it Thursday.
Discuss it Thursday. No, you said next time, you talking about?
Well, I thought,
In August.
you're talking about putting this on this coming Thursday's agenda?
Move it, just move it forward. We're just moving it to Thursday. The next time it'll be us is our first August meeting, which will be August 2nd, then August 5th.
But what would, just so I'm clear, what I need to do, what you're proposing is to move to Thursday is the,
Well, basically, he was asking to discuss it, so really, there's nothing officially we'll be doing Thursday except maybe coming up with the wording of the resolution or approving the resolution.
so you wouldn't actually formally introduce the ordinance or the resolution until the first meeting until August.
Right, and we'd have to work on that. What would I don't understand the purpose of the ordinance. The ordinance as such stands, so we're going to create an ordinance with our intention to change the ordinance? I mean, I understand.
No, it's not, you're changing the charter.
No, we're asking we have to have the public change the charter. We can't change the charter.
No, but you proposed the change.
And you propose the change by ordinance?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I got you. Okay. So on August 2nd, we'll come back and start the process. All we're doing is introducing it to discuss it on Thursday.
Well, we're really not gonna do anything with it.
Right.
We just
gonna talk.
Why don't you go ahead and get in the charge when you start the process, so you can have your ducks in a row and have it all ready to go by August.
August 2nd is the work session.
Introduction, discussion, then layover.
Oh, yeah, that's okay.
All right.
So, I'm just trying to be clear, so, I mean, we've discussed it.
Yeah.
So nothing is happening Thursday on this item?
No, we're done.
Because I know the motion was move to Thursday.
It'll come back
That's
up on,
over.
it'll come back up on August 2nd.
Okay.
Move thing, we'll skip to the next item, please, Mr. Spears.
Authorized appropriation resolution recognizing life-saving actions taken by elementary school teacher Terry Palms.
Mr. Jenkins, seconded by Commissioner Lynn. Is there any discussion on this motion?
Just briefly, Mr. President, very briefly, Ms. Palms Moore is to be commended for some life-saving measures she took by saving the life of an elementary school student, and simply asking on Thursday that the preparation of the resolution be authorized. I'll try to bring it back up sometime in August for a formal presentation.
Very good. Vote to move forward with the authorization of this resolution. Any other discussion? If not, please vote. Yea? That's unanimous. We're adjourned.
This is short.